Broadcom 3V0-24.25 exam practice questions with explanations are available in the video for you to study. A platform team must deploy a Tanzu Kubernetes Grid (TKG) workload cluster whose worker nodes are evenly spread across 3 availability zones to survive a single zone outage. The cluster is configured with 6 worker replicas and is deployed in a namespace mapped to 3 zones. Which statements correctly describe how this zonal placement is achieved? Choose all that apply. A. The supervisor must be deployed as a zonal supervisor spanning all 3 zones. B. With 6 workers and 3 zones, the scheduler will target 2 worker nodes per zone. C. The supervisor scheduler attempts to distribute workers across fault domains associated with the namespace. D. Each worker VM requires explicit node affinity rules targeting SC hosts. E. Separate storage policies must be defined per zone in the cluster YAML. The answer is ABC. Zonal workload placement relies on a zonal supervisor that understands multiple fault domains, making option a mandatory. When the number of worker replicas is divisible by the number of zones, the scheduler naturally aims for even distribution, which validates option B. The supervisor leverages zone-aware scheduling and anti-affinity rules implicitly through fault domain mappings. Confirming option C. Manual node affinity definitions are unnecessary because placement is handled by the supervisor control plane. Storage policies do not need to be unique per zone unless explicitly required by the storage architecture, making option E incorrect. A security team wants all newly created TKG clusters to automatically grant cluster admin permissions to a specific Azure AD group using OIDC integration. Which design choices enable this centralized and automated access control? Choose 2. A. Configure OIDC trust directly on the supervisor via internal APIs. B. Manually create cluster role bindings on each cluster after deployment. C. Integrate Azure AD as an identity provider in vCenter single sign-on. D. Define a global access policy in Tanzu Mission Control for all clusters. E. Use the default admin kubeconfig to bootstrap RBAC on each cluster. The answer is CD. vCenter Single Sign-On acts as the authoritative identity broker for the supervisor and workload clusters, making option C essential. Tanzu Mission Control can enforce RBAC consistently across all managed clusters, satisfying the requirement for automation and scale, which supports option D. Manual RBAC configuration after cluster creation contradicts the automation requirement. Direct supervisor API configuration is unsupported for identity federation. Relying on admin kube configs is neither scalable nor secure for enterprise environments. An administrator enables high availability for the Harbor Supervisor service. What is the primary impact of this decision on the supervisor cluster? A. No resource impact because HA is only a logical setting. B. A requirement for an external database backend. C. Increased CPU, memory, and storage consumption due to replicated Harbor components. D. Deployment of multiple supervisor clusters. The answer is C. Enabling HarborHa causes multiple replicas of core components such as core, job service, portal, and database services to be deployed. These additional pods consume more CPU and memory from the supervisor resource pool. Storage usage also increases because replicated databases and persistent volumes are required. HarborHa does not mandate an external database, as embedded solutions can be clustered. The supervisor architecture remains unchanged, ruling out multiple supervisor clusters. An administrator notices that a newer version of the Harbor Supervisor service is available in the vSphere client. What are the correct steps to upgrade the existing Harbor service instance? Choose to A. Manually update container images using kubectl. B. Update the Harbor service definition in vCenter. C. Use the Upgrade Available option in the vSphere client. D. Upgrade vCenter server before upgrading Harbor. E. Uninstall the old service and reinstall the new version. The answer is B. C. Supervisor services are lifecycle managed through service definitions stored in vCenter, so updating the definition is required. Once a new version is detected, the vSphere client provides a guided upgrade workflow. Validating option C. Direct kubectl image manipulation is unsupported and risks state corruption. A full uninstall is unnecessary and disruptive. Harbor service upgrades are independent of vCenter upgrades. A DevOps engineer cannot connect to the Supervisor API endpoint and receives timeout errors. Which component should be validated first when troubleshooting connectivity? A. The Spherelet agent on SSH. B. The management IP of the first control plane VM. C. The load balancer virtual IP, VIP, for the supervisor API. D. The namespace Tier 1 gateway port group. The answer is C. All supervisor API traffic is fronted by a load balancer VIP, making it the primary ingress point. If the VIP is unreachable, no client can access the control plane regardless of internal VM health. Spherelet and internal management IPs are not directly accessed by users. Namespace networking is irrelevant for supervisor API connectivity. Therefore, validating the VIP and load balancer health is the correct first step. What is the role of a Tanzu Kubernetes release, TKR, in a vSphere with Tanzu environment? A. Automates vCenter deployment. B. Provides versioned Kubernetes node images used for cluster lifecycle operations. C. Defines namespace-level network policies. D. Supplies container images for load balancers. The answer is B. A TKR packages the Kubernetes version along with pre-built node images used by both control plane and worker nodes. These images are stored in a content library and are essential for provisioning and upgrading TKG clusters. TKRs do not automate vCenter installation or define networking constructs. They are also unrelated to load balancer container images. Their primary purpose is lifecycle consistency and version control. A Kafka deployment spans 3 zones and uses persistent volumes, but cross-zone storage replication is not required. Which storage design best meets the requirements while minimizing latency? Choose all that apply. A. Separate storage policies per zone using local data stores. B. A single topology-aware storage class with delayed binding. C. vSAN stretched cluster replication across zones. D. Assign all zonal storage policies to the namespace. E. Use a zonal storage class so volumes are provisioned in the POD's zone. The answer is B. Topology-aware storage with delayed binding ensures that volumes are created in the same zone as the consuming pod, minimizing latency. A zonal storage class allows the CSI driver to enforce this behavior automatically. Cross-zone replication is unnecessary and adds cost and latency. Assigning multiple storage policies without topology awareness does not guarantee correct placement. Local-only policies alone do not solve scheduling alignment without delayed binding. What differentiates a vSphere pod from a traditional virtual machine? A. It is invisible in the vSphere client. B. It runs a full guest OS managed by tenants. C. It runs in a lightweight VM using a specialized container-optimized kernel. D. It requires an existing TKG cluster. The answer is C. vSphere pods encapsulate containers within a lightweight virtual machine boundary using a minimal kernel optimized for containers. This design provides stronger isolation than standard containers without the overhead of a full guest OS. They are visible and managed through vSphere and Kubernetes APIs. vSphere pods do not depend on a TKG cluster and are scheduled directly by the supervisor. A TKG cluster upgrade is blocked because a worker node cannot be drained due to a pod disruption budget, PDB. What actions allow the upgrade to continue? Choose 2. A. Restart the supervisor control plane. B. Increase the application replica count. C. Reduce the PDB min available value. D. Force delete the machine object. E. Permanently delete the PDB. The answer is B. C. The PDB prevents eviction because the minimum available replicas equal the current replica count. Scaling the deployment increases availability, allowing one pod to be safely evicted. Alternatively, lowering min available relaxes the constraint so draining can proceed. Restarting the supervisor does not affect Kubernetes eviction logic. Forced deletion risks data loss, and deleting the PDB entirely violates availability guarantees. An organization operates 3 air-gapped vCenter instances but requires identical Tanzu Kubernetes releases across all sites. Which content library design achieves this most efficiently? Choose all that apply. A. Publish the library from Site A. B. Subscribe Site A directly to the public registry. C. Manually upload images separately to each site. D. Create a local library at Site A and upload validated TKRs. E. Configure sites B and C to subscribe to Site A's library. The answer is A. Creating a local library at Site A ensures a controlled and validated source of TKRs. Publishing this library allows other sites to consume the same content without Internet access. Subscribed libraries at Sites B and C maintain consistency automatically. Manually uploading images to each site is inefficient and error-prone. Direct public registry access is impossible in air-gapped environments.